Hey humans, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. I'm Che Hojas, a Raleigh-based artist, and today I have you a very meaningful video for me, since I will be doing this little painting in memory of my two kittens. So I guess let me start from the beginning. Some months ago, my boyfriend and I decided we wanted to adopt cats. We have been thinking it for a very long time, and I guess we finally thought we were stable enough to make that commitment, since we know it's a lifetime commitment, and we had been doing a lot of big life changes since we moved from Florida to here. We started a new life in a new place. We don't know anyone. He started a new job. I started a new business. So it's a lot. And all this time we were thinking about it, but we were not sure. And I guess we got to the point where okay. I mean, we're sure we wanted cats. We weren't sure it was the time or the right time, I guess. And we finally got to the point where we thought it was the time. So we really didn't have much, I guess, demands on how we wanted the cats to be. We just wanted to adopt for sure instead of buying, and we wanted them to be young so that they could get used to the house and a new environment and everything more easily. And I just looked for rescues around where we live. We found this rescue close by, opened their website, and they had these two kittens who were sisters, and they were at that point probably just 1 month old, and they were looking for a home where they wouldn't separate them. And well, they didn't say that, but since we knew we wanted two cats just so that they would make company to each other when we're not home, we thought it would be better for them to be siblings so that we can use the opportunity to not separate siblings. And they were perfect because one of them was white and the other was black, and they looked so cute together, and it was just perfect. So we went to see them. They were adorable. They were so tiny at the time, and we did the application form, the adoption application form, and she told us to wait around, I think it was at that point 3 weeks, for them to be old enough to get their spayed or neutered and be able to come home. So we did, and the day she said, she got them spayed and neutered. I don't know which one it's called for girls. And we went to pick them up the same day they had the operation. So brought them home. They were amazing immediately. They didn't seem to be anxious or nervous around the new environment. They were immediately playing and everything. And the next day they were already more calm, less playful, more, I would say, snuggly and very, very loving. They were so loving, oh my God. And they were here for a month and 1 week, in which we took them to their vet appointments. I think we went to the vet 3 times. First, just to get them settled in a new bed and everything. Second time, it was to get them the vaccine they were missing, and that time they told us they were way too small and way too young to get that vaccine. And they were also kind of shocked that they were so small. They were less than a pound and so young, and they were already spayed or neutered. They thought that was awfully cruel, and it shouldn't have been, and we have no idea when this should have been, or now we know because we have started so much about it at this point. But at that point we were clueless, so we were oh, didn't know. And one of them had red eyes, Moon, the white one, so they gave us eye drops. I'm okay, perfect. Took the eye drops, came back, we did the eye drops. Her eyes did get better for some time, so we're all good. They were doing great. Then we went back, I think 2 weeks later. They got the vaccine that they were missing. They got tested. They said they were perfectly fine. Brought them back home. And less than a day after that visit, one of them died. So I'm here on the floor with my pink microphone to let you know that I already gessoed with purple acrylic paint and gesso my canvas. which is heart-shaped and so cute, and it looks so cute already with the purple and the texture. I did many layers, I think like 4 or 5, for the texture of the canvas to disappear and for the canvas to be less bouncy and more solid or tough. So the next step now is to make the outlines or reference for painting. This is the next step for my process. Of course, not everyone does that. I already made a canvas in my Procreate in my iPad with the size and shape of this canvas, which is different since I don't usually use shaped canvases. And I already have the photo reference I want to use from the girls. So sad. So now I'm just gonna head to the couch, which is where I usually do things on my iPad, to go sketch the outlines to then start the painting process. Yeah. We woke up, we went downstairs because they usually would come up to say good morning to us as soon as they would hear us. And this morning just Moon came up and we thought it was weird, so we went downstairs to check on the other one, Safira, and she was gone, and she had been gone for hours at that point, probably. And it was shocking and horrible, and we were heartbroken. We both had tattoos that day, didn't know how to go through, went together to both of them, cried all day. So then we came back home that exact same night after work, and we see that the other one, Moon, is walking kind of funny. And because we were already shocked and terrified for what had just happened to Safira, we ran to the bed, but it was nighttime, so they're not open. We had to go to an emergency vet hospital or whatever, animal hospital. We went to one. They told us to sit there, and we waited for around 2 hours and no one came. So I started calling different beds that were open and asking if they had like space for us. I called, I think, to 5. The first 5 said they did not have space for her. And the 6th one said yes. So we went there. It was at this point probably like 3 in the morning. She seemed decently fine. I mean, she was sleeping on me, being like, can we go home already? Like, you're being so dramatic. But we just wanted to make sure. So we went to this vet hospital, emergency group, I think it was called. They checked her immediately, like in less than 5 minutes. They kind of checked us in, let's say. So they checked, saw she didn't have fluid in her stomach, that she seemed fine. So they said to take a seat, and they were going to call us to make to run some blood tests. We went to sit, we sat for 2 hours. They call us to do the test. They draw blood from her. We go back to sitting down. And then I think 3 hours later, it was like 7 a.m. at this point, she came with the results to us, like the doctor that was in shift, and told us she was concerned because Moon had, and she explained in a way that made no sense to us, like non-medical people. She had like hemoglobin too high, but albumin low, so it might be something. And she told us to keep her there to run another blood test some hours later and be sure if that was the case. So then give her treatment. And this was like $3,000 to do. And we're like, how likely is her to have something? And if she has something, to have the cure for her to live like a happy life after this? And how much better is to stay here and not just go to a bed, because at this point it's already the next day and they're probably gonna open in a few hours. And she was like, she is very likely to have some of the things I think she might have, and it's also very very, very, very likely, most likely, she can have a cure and be perfectly fine after that, because if it's parasites, she just needs like an injection or antibiotic, and then she will be fine. Okay, so we left her there, came back to shower, and went immediately back there. The other doctor was in shift. They made us wait another 2 hours, and then she came back with new results, and she was like, yes, she still has these up and this low, which means she probably has FIP, which is feline infections peritonitis. And she said something like, a week ago this would have been a death sentence for any cat, let alone a cat that was like barely 1 pound and 2 months and a half old, or 3 months at this point maybe. But like 1 week ago it was FDA approved, a new treatment, so she might make it. She told us to take her home and order this prescription. So we took her home, ordered the prescription, started studying everything we could about FIP. The statistics were just awful and disheartening, so we canceled all our work and tattoos for the week to stay with her. We slept with her, we looked at her all day and night, checking she was okay, and she started getting worse very fast. We had to like mouth feed her, give her water. She wouldn't drink or eat otherwise. While we were waiting the prescription, that was also like almost $1,000, and would take 3 days to get here. The day the prescription came in, she was doing kind of fine. She ate that morning, so we were super hopeful. We're like, oh my gosh, she's eating. Everything is gonna be okay. And then we give her the prescription. I think it was the 3rd day of prescription at this point. And Nelson, my boyfriend, went back to work because things were looking better. And I stayed home with her. And like at some point I just looked at her and she was like crossed-eyed or something, like her eyes looked empty. And then I tried to like get her up and she wouldn't be able to walk. And I am not gonna tell you all the details because they're a bit I think they're horrible, and I guess I don't want to leave them again, but I also don't want to traumatize you for all of you sensitive hearts out there. But the thing is, that night at like 3 a.m. we're still with her. We knew it might be coming, so we didn't leave her side, and she also passed. Now we know that they probably both had FIP, Safira and Moon. Safira probably had the wet version and Moon had the ocular version. That's why she had the red eyes. If they would have caught that on time, she probably would be here. Same with Safira, of course, but she was more asymptomatic, so we understand them not realizing. But with the red eyes, I don't know. Anyways, it was awful. We're ready to donate everything we bought for them in terms of the illness, but also the catchery, the food, everything. And we actually called the person who we adopted from to give her the stuff, and she told me she was in some trip and she would tell me when she's back. But I'm glad we kept it, because some months later we did decide to adopt again, and it's actually very scary. But that aside, so now we know they probably both got it because shelter cats or rescue cats, most of them have this coronavirus. I think something like 90% of them have it. And then just the ones that are immune compromised mutate the virus to FIP. And the reason why probably the both of them did this, even though it's not contagious, so it's not that one did it and then the other just was contagious by the other one, is more like got it from the other one. It's actually that they were both immunocompromised, one because they were very little, and two because they were operated when they were way too young, and apparently that was one of the main reasons this happened. So that's probably why that happened. It's just awful, and I wanted to make this painting for them in their memory. And I've had this like heart-shaped canvas for such a long time, probably 2 years, and I always thought it was adorable, but I didn't really know what to paint on it. And when I decided I was gonna paint them, it was so obvious to me that I had kept that canvas for this long to paint them. It's just the right one. On the technical side of this, I'm gonna admit it was really hard to paint them since they are black and white, so they are very contrasting colors, and I don't paint with realistic colors. I could have done this time, but I paint in the way I feel, and that is not in realistic colors. It's more extreme, let's say. So it was hard. I hope it worked. I also know my style is more it's more for like big pieces and not like smaller pieces like this one, but I don't know, I still think it's beautiful. I can see them in this painting. We're probably gonna put it on our room once it's dry and I varnish it. I paint really thick, so this might be drying quite some time, like maybe a month. But yeah, so this is the story behind this painting, and this is it for me. Have a great rest of your day, and see you on the next one. Bye, humans.